Good morning, everybody. We are going to kick off today's webinar. It's my absolute pleasure to have everybody there. I know in every business across Victoria today, there's certainly a different feel than what there was last Wednesday, particularly with the Prime Minister's announcement last night, and of course the Premier's address this morning as well, which we'll touch on a bit later. I'm Paul Guerra. I'm the Chief Executive of the Victorian Chamber of Commerce in Industry, and again, it's great to have you here. What I want to do now is we've had a bunch of questions that have come in ahead of time, and then there's some that have come through this session as well. So I might reintroduce Anne Wright. Again, Anne, welcome back. And I know you've got the questions there in front of you.
One that I think is on a lot of people's minds, particularly today, my business is closed because it's classified as non-essential. I have no other income and my costs are rising. Can I lay off staff?
We hear this a lot, and even more so this morning actually, as the conversation around non-essential and essential occurred last night. There will be a definition coming later this week, we understand, around what is an essential business, particularly if we move to a level 3 lockdown as well. The answer, unfortunately, is a bit grey as to what you can do there. We'd get in touch with us because every situation is different. There are ways under Fair Work where you can stand people down, but it depends on what work is available for them to do. Obviously, the redundancy provisions are still applicable at this point in time. So you need to think through whether it's a stand down, whether it's a redundancy, or whether you might be able to get through by asking people to take leave and all sorts of leave at different points in time as well. So unfortunately, it's not a straightforward answer. For us, if you need advice on it, the best number to call us on is 03 8662 5333, and again, that's 03 8662 5333.
Another one that's come through, I'm really struggling with cash flow. What can I do?
It's probably the question that we've heard most over the last couple of weeks, and it came about because for businesses, their income have turned off really quickly to the point where customers that were once there aren't there anymore. So we'd encourage you to do a couple of things. Certainly investigate what you are applicable for with the two announcements that were made over the weekend, one by the Victorian government and one by the federal government, because there is some cash incentives, there is some cash grants, there are some loans that are available through both of those schemes. On top of that, talk to your bank. The banks have been brilliant in their willingness to work with small and medium business through this. So we'd encourage you to go and talk to your bank. Importantly, talk to your financial advisor, be that your accountant, be that your CFO. They'll be tuned in to what is possible there. And then finally, if you need additional support, come and talk to us. Whatever you do, act quickly, right? Know what's available. Make sure you don't get into a position where you've ran out of money without having the rescue packages there beside you.
Sure. And for sole traders, a common question we're hearing from them, is there any government support to help a sole trader?
Yeah, it's so far we've seen the job seeker payments, which a sole trader is available to access. The scheme that was announced, the $500 million bucket of money that the state government announced on Saturday, will start to come live at the end of this week, and that is geared towards all the business, including sole traders. I know the parameters around that are being workshopped at the moment, but I know, because the Victorian Chamber has been invited to be part of it, that they will absolutely be updated and released before the end of the week. So keep an eye on our website. Certainly keep a listen through to the Small Business Victoria website as well, because I'm very confident there'll be money available there for sole traders through that as well. And of course, don't forget, you've got access to superannuation should you wish to pull that down as well. So again, go back through the two schemes, the two packages that were introduced over the weekend. Think through your superannuation, go back to your bank, and importantly, talk to people like us, because we can help.
And I know you've already talked about sort of a little bit mentioning stage 2, stage 3 of shutdown. A question here, the government is talking about further shutdowns of all non-essential businesses. What does non-essential mean as we understand it right now?
Yeah, it's being worked through. And the truth is there's no firm answer on that one yet. There are a range of businesses that want to be classified as essential services. And I know the state government is working through that at the moment. Should you think your industry or your business want to be classified as an essential service, I'd encourage you to get in touch with your Victorian Chamber account manager really quickly. We are having input into what an essential service or recommendations around what an essential service could be, but that list is not finalised yet. My expectation is it will be by the end of the week. I think the Andrews government have been brilliant in terms of signposting what is about to happen. And I think the Premier's announcement today, indicating that we will be into a stage 3 at some point into the future, gives us an indication that we'll go there. But I'm also very confident that we'll know what an essential service is before we get into that phase.
Absolutely. For some people who are trying to reduce costs, and there's a question through here, who can help me negotiate a dispute I'm having with my landlord regarding reducing rent?
Keep the conversation alive with your landlord, because ultimately for everybody to get through this, we need everybody to work together. We've seen great initiatives from the City of Melbourne where they've reduced rent for the buildings that they own. In fact, the state government on Saturday offered the same initiative. So any buildings that the state government owns, tenants in there will get rent relief too. It is our hope that every landlord will offer the same back to their individual tenants. And we're hearing good reports largely around the state on that. However, if you find yourself in a position where the landlord won't, then the Victorian Small Business Commissioner can help you resolve those matters. And again, business.vic.gov.au can help you, and back through victorianchamber.com.au will be able to help you with that as well. But for every business owner and for every landlord, this is a defined period of time. We think it'll be around the 6-month mark. Let's all band together to make sure that we get through this. Let's make sure that Victorian business comes out stronger at the back end. And so we're asking everybody to be really reasonable through this period of time.
A question here, I can't meet loan repayments to my bank. What should I do?
Talk to your bank. If you're not already talking to your bank, make it the first thing you do after you get off this webinar. Ring your bank. The banks have been brilliant. Their preparedness to work with small and medium and large business has been outstanding. Some of the initiatives they've already offered have been advertised, but it's really a case of talk to your bank. They're here to help. They really are. They're here to help. And that's the opportunity that you have right now. So pick the phone up to your bank, make an appointment if you need to, but a lot of this can be taken care of over the phone as well.
I know that we've had a lot of inquiries as this becomes more frequent. What if an employee wants to stay home as a precaution? Do I have to pay them?
It's, again, a really good question. It depends on the circumstance. So for those businesses that are lucky enough to be able to have the functionality to work from home, we'd encourage every employee and every employer to make that happen. There are some businesses where that's not possible, particularly around the manufacturing pieces and others, but there may be jobs that can be performed from home. It's really a case of having that open communication back with your employee around what is possible to work from home. If that's achievable, great. If not, then ultimately there's a decision to be made around what happens with the employee and what happens with the employer through that period of time. Don't do anything illegal before you act in a situation where you can't resolve. Come and talk to us. There's plenty of information on our website, but also the helpline is available there to help you as well.
Sure. This is a very specialised question that we got, which is very apt today. My engineering business supplies specialist staff who maintain healthcare equipment across Australia. Will they be banned from travel to Tasmania given the new border restrictions in place?
We're seeing more of the states putting up borders, and effectively that is for non-essential travel. We know in the Tasmanian government side, for example, they've enabled travel exemptions for specialists required for industry or business for continuity or maintenance. So it's going to depend on what the travel is required for, but the states, particularly Tasmania, and I think the other states will follow suit to enable exemptions where it's required to help the economy keep going, but more importantly, to help in the event of an emergency as well. But check in with each of the government websites of the states that you're wanting to visit. And again, if you have any issues, come back to either us or get through to business.vic.gov.au and they'll be able to help as well.
And the last question I've got here, I run an accommodation business. What are my responsibilities if I have a guest who is required to self-isolate for 14 days?
Yep. I think we all know now, and if we don't, we should know that if you travelled from overseas, you have to isolate for 14 days. The hotel staff cannot work in hotels if they are self-isolating. Right? If hotel patrons need to self-isolate in a hotel, it's important staff take precaution to prevent the spread of the virus in that hotel. All the advice, go to health.gov.au in relation to the coronavirus. And importantly, the National Coronavirus Helpline is available on 1800 020 080. It's really clear. It's really clear. And the Prime Minister made it clear yesterday. The Premier made it clear today. We have to take note of the self-isolation. It's no longer an option. We have to take note of what the social distancing rules are if we are to get this virus under control. So please, do the right thing. Self-isolate and make sure that the social distancing is met in both your workplace and in also your social life as well. We need to get on top of this virus, and we need to get on top of this virus soon to make sure that we can bounce back from business. And I think, unfortunately, that's all the time that we have to take questions today. I know you've got a few more there, and I apologise for cutting you off. We'll make all the questions available on the website and then again through the webinar link. And we'll make sure that we continue a question and answer so that through the course of the next week, you'll be able to access all the Q&A that we've not only covered today, but we will cover after the call with the questions that have come in. So with that, we wanted to commit half an hour, and we're just on that half an hour timeline now. I appreciate everybody taking time out of your day to do this. There will be another webinar next Wednesday at 11 o'clock, and I look forward to joining you there. We will advertise what the topic is ahead of time. But if you've got any suggestions of the areas that you would like us to cover in the next week's webinar, we'd be more too pleased to hear from you. So my thank you particularly to Barbara Cullen and the team at Small Business Victoria, to the team at the Victorian Chamber of Commerce, but importantly to you, the business owner, the employee out there, for tuning in with us today. We need you to get through. We will absolutely bounce back once this coronavirus clears. We know there's a bit of a way to go. We're here side by side with you, and we will make sure that we'll do our best to provide the advice that you need in a timely manner. Thank you. Go ahead and enjoy your day. Thanks.